Jeez, man. All right. So, I'm Janky J with the Four Real Takes, and tonight we have.
Dog 92.
Discpick.
Harv from Harv's Movie Hut.
Wow. I don't. You know what? I kind of didn't like that.
Why?
It made me feel icky. I don't like how you didn't.
The shit you guys give me for saying what I usually say. I just want to make you guys happy.
No, I want to take a shower after that. That was disgusting. Can you redo it, Harv?
Yeah, actually.
Hi, I'm Harv from Harv's Movie Hut.
No, what? That was worse. Like, nah. All right, fuck it.
This is Harv from the world famous Harv's Movie Hut.
There we go. There we go.
He's alive.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so the layout's a little different tonight, so I guess I'll go first with the movie that I watched this week. I watched a bunch of movies this week, all of them animated. So, and all of them on Netflix too. Pretty sure these are all like Sony animation movies. So I watched Sea Beast, a movie called In Your Dreams, and a movie called The Twits, and they were all really fun. They weren't the best in the world, but like The Twits, man, that was the same guy who did Willy Wonka, the BFG, like all those like, you know, creepy hand-drawn books from like your childhood. Really funny. It had some like Tim Burton kind of vibes to it. Sea Beast was like, you know, a guy and this young girl going and, you know, like they're trying to kill these sea monsters, and then they like become friends and shit. And then In Your Dreams was really good. That was a girl and her brother. They go into their own dreams, and they were all just really good. I don't know. I had a blast with them, and it was nice seeing something outside of Disney, which is going to be the topic I kind of go into later. So yeah, I mean, they were all at least 3.5 or up for me.
Nice.
I've never heard of any one of those movies.
Never heard of them.
No, I neither. I looked them up. I looked up on Netflix like family movies and just kind of went through a bunch, read the synopsis, and was like, I'll try this one and this one. I got like two or three other ones I'm gonna check out too.
That's cool.
Now I got a question. Were all those like recent movies? Like releases?
Yeah, I think the oldest may have been like 2020 or somewhere, like no later than 2020 for sure. Yeah.
So here's an added bonus question. What would be like your favorite animated movie that's not like a Disney company movie? Like,
Well, that's my whole topic for later.
Oh, is it?
That's
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, well then.
That's my whole topic.
Hey, I just. Hey, there we go.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler. My bad.
And this is why he's famous.
Yeah, right.
Famous for spoiling.
This fucking plagiarism. Yeah. Look at
that.
He thinks he's original.
Oops.
Unbelievable.
I thought you were on your. We're just doing recommendations, aren't we, right now? Or movies we watch. Movies we watch.
No, we're talking about what
I
movies we
so
watch. You're
off today. Oh my goodness.
Jeez.
Wow. What the hell is wrong with me?
Yeah.
Let me rewind that back a little bit. Let me rewind that back a little bit.
He thinks we're already done with the video.
I know, right? All right.
See you guys.
What'd you watch, Disc?
All right. I watched, not recommend. I would recommend, but I watched. Actually, this is the first time I went to the movie theater this year. That deserves a clap. Something I haven't done. So anyway, I watched it in theaters. It was a really good theater experience. I watched it with my mom. She cried, and that is Michael. I really enjoyed it a lot. I talked to them about it a lot already. I think it's probably up there with like top 3 biopics. And all I'm going to say is Jafar Jackson did a really good performance. Honestly, everybody did throughout that whole thing. And for someone that would watch it, I would say don't go into it as a biopic. Just go into it as a Michael Jackson fan, and you're going there for a fun theater experience. Because I'll tell you this, I watched it in IMAX, and the seats that they have in the IMAX don't recline, but they rock. The whole time, everybody was just like the whole time, like it looked like I was like in a fucking like wave ocean. The whole movie, just everybody was just going to the beat the whole movie. So yeah, it was a fun one, and people were laughing, so it's funny, and it's a good biopic. So that was what I watched this week.
I think it helps that movie that he looked like so much like Michael Jackson. He looked so much like his uncle.
Yeah.
Or they made him with the makeup. There was probably some makeup added to it, but he really it was like a spitting image. So I think that helped with the visuals of the movie.
Fun fact, I found this out yesterday actually. Guess who did the makeup?
Who did the makeup?
The same person that did Deadpool.
Wow.
Really? That was interesting.
Yeah.
So, that was kind of an interesting thing. I would have never guessed.
Nice.
Anyway, yeah.
All right. What'd you watch, Sea-Dog?
I watched It Follows. It's a movie that I tried to watch a few times, and it's one of those movies where it's like a hit or miss kind of. Some days I can watch it and I'll enjoy it. Other days I'm like, this is a really dumb concept. But I thought it was a really intriguing story. It just the story didn't progress the right way. It was very slow paced, and it kind of just drug out the story too much.
Yeah. You know what? That movie there's an episode on Seinfeld of where Jerry's dating this chick, and there's like sometimes when she's in like the right kind of light that she's like really ugly, and then other times like she's really hot, and that's how that movie makes me feel. It's like, dude, there are times where that movie hits perfectly, and then other times you're like, why the fuck did they make this piece of shit? Like,
why am I watching this right now?
Right. Yeah. So no, I get what you're saying. The more I watch it,
though, it took me about 4 times to really get into the movie. Like, I used to say, this is the most dog shit movie I've ever seen in my life. This was literally like Night Swim. But literally, It was like that. And then I just kept watching. I was like, I'm going to give it a chance. And I kept falling asleep to it. And then eventually I sat through and watched it all. And I was like, oh, this wasn't as bad. And then I watched it after that. It was not good that time.
Yeah.
A little bit of a slow burn. And I was the same way. Yes. Like the first time I was like, man, fuck this movie. This movie's stupid. And then I watched it again for some odd reason. I don't even know why I watched it again, but I did because I think I didn't even remember I watched it. And when I did that, I was like, oh, this movie's pretty good. So I watched it again. I actually really do like the movie. So, but I was in the same boat. Like, this movie sucked at the first time I watched it. And it's one of those that kind of grows on you. It follows you. Oh, you like that wordplay, huh? You like that wordplay, huh?
Clever. That's why he's famous, ladies and gentlemen.
It followed me home. It followed me home from the theater that first night too, and not in a good way.
Yeah. All right. It has a weird premise, but I can't knock it for being original.
It was very unique and original when it came out.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. What'd you watch, Harv?
So I may get a little bit of shit for this.
Boy.
I watched 2007's No Country for Old Men. Now,
I know where this is going.
Yeah. Yeah. So I might get a little hate, but that's okay. It's my take. So the first couple of acts on there, the first, I would say 3/4 of the movie was great. It had this awesome buildup. You could feel the tension. You could feel everything on it. It was a great story, great acting, everything. Then the end happened. And the end was like taking a drink out of a bottle, a soda bottle, or for those that say it, pop bottle. After it's been sitting on the table, opened for about an hour. Just flat. Just completely flat. Like it feels like they rushed the end where all of a sudden Josh Brolin is at this hotel. He's talking to a girl. She's trying to give him some beer. And, you know, they're chit-chatting, and all of a sudden it fades to black, and then you just hear some machine gun sounds, and then he's on the ground, gone, passed away. Then after that, it cuts to a little bit of, you know, where he's gone and his wife is dealing with it. She's burying her mother. And she's coming home from the funeral after burying her mother, already buried her husband, and the psychopath is in there, but it doesn't really say what happens. Like, did he unalive her, or did he let her go? Like, it didn't really say. And then he just gets in an accident and walks away, and then you don't see him. And then after all of that, it just cuts to Tommy Lee Jones sitting at a breakfast table and starts talking about a couple of dreams he had, and then end credits. Very flat ending. So I don't know why it did so well if that was the type of ending it had. I think it should have had a tremendous ending for the type of... They should have given us a better ending for the type of movie that they built throughout the whole process.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's just like... Go ahead, Disc.
Well, I was just going to say, like, I like Coen Brothers. I like their movies.
I know you do.
I will say this. Their endings tend to be either dumb or just make you think. They kind of do end a lot like that. So...
Yeah, but there really wasn't a lot
you got that out of that one.
The only thing that you really have to wonder is the wife scene. But other than that, there was no thought process like what could have happened or what happened. One retired, one died, and one you don't know. And then one got away. That was it. Like, there wasn't really any kind of to be able to think like, oh, what happened to everybody? You already knew. So that's why I feel like it was pretty flat.
Yeah, No Country for Old Men definitely has like a stronger first half, I will say. But I do think part of that ending for you is that's just how Coen Brothers kind of end their movies. They just kind of leave it like that. But
wait till you watch Burn After Reading. I want both of you guys to watch that movie because
I've seen it.
That's my favorite Coen Brothers ending.
I didn't like it.
How does that
I
one
didn't like it.
end?
I didn't like it. I mean, all she did was go get her boob job, and that was it.
No, but the ending, like the last line of the movie, basically, the last two lines of the movie, they sum it up perfectly. It's like I don't remember the line verbatim, but he basically says, well, I don't want to spoil it for Disc, but yeah, it's
I might need to rewatch it, but yeah, the first time I watched it, it might be like It Follows. I might not have liked it the first time, and maybe now I might like it. So
yeah,
but
when you say that about the one line, sorry.
No,
what were you saying? Sorry, I didn't know you were talking. Sorry.
I think he was just making noises like usual.
Oh. No, I said it might be like It Follows, where I didn't like it before, and now what is it? The Men That Stare at Goats, or Burn After Reading. So
Burn After Reading. Yeah,
I might like it because the first time I did not like it. I did not enjoy it at all. I didn't get it. So maybe my palate has refined a little bit.
Yeah, now that you've been hanging out with us.
No.
Probably
no.
You're just better at watching movies.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah.
Hey, at least you gave it another chance, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, no, good. I'm going to give it another chance. I'm going to. Eventually. Yeah. It's on the watch list, but just at the bottom of the pile.
All right. Well, I'll get in since we already kind of got spoiled. You want to maybe grab Chewy, see if he wants to hang out with us?
Yeah.
Sounds like he wants to hang out with us. So as Harv gave a perfect intro to my topic of the week earlier.
Great segue.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you guys, like, so obviously Disney's like the big dog of, animation and stuff, and has been forever. But like I would have said 10 years ago, even with the bangers that DreamWorks had, that I still probably like Disney more. But at this point, with everything that they've released as a whole, I think at this point I prefer DreamWorks by like a huge margin now. Because I mean, it's not just like the recent stuff like that one I told you guys, Orion in the Dark. I really enjoyed that. But like you got Shrek, you've got The Prince of Egypt, dude, which was such a fucking amazing movie.
Great movie.
How to Train Your Dragon. Like you've got like they're building, their own like that, like how Disney had those iconic movies like, Peter Pan and The Lion King and stuff. Like DreamWorks is doing that same thing. They got a late start to it in comparison, but these movies are going to be, Shrek is going to be remembered, in the same way that those old Disney movies are for us, when we think back to like Bambi and, fucking Pinocchio and stuff like that. So I wanted to know what you guys thought, kind of like, do you have like a company that, you prefer over Disney, or do you still kind of lean towards Disney? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
I think the downfall of Disney was when the guy that was running DreamWorks got fired from Disney. Wasn't he the one that was creating a lot of the good movies, and then they fired him, and that's why he started DreamWorks?
I don't remember the exact story of how that started. I know there was something along the lines of like something like that. Yeah, I don't want to pretend that I know the actual story, but
because it was
something like that.
Yeah. So maybe that's why DreamWorks is doing good, because they have that guy is the one that brought all those great ones over, or he had the ideas over there. They let him go, so now they don't have that mind there anymore. They have it at DreamWorks, and that's why it's growing. But one of my favorite animated ones is, I don't even know if it's DreamWorks or who made it, but it is the Iron Giant. I think that does not get talked about enough in general. That is such a great animated film. Yeah. And it should have had a part 2. The way it ended, it should have had a sequel. And I think they should get back and try to make the sequel for that movie, because it feels like it was left unfinished. I think the way the violence in it was still family friendly, but there was still violence, more realistic violence. And the heart touching scenes in there and the emotion that was in there. I think that was like that's my all-time favorite animated film.
Mm-hmm. It was Warner Brothers, by the way.
Is that Warner Brothers?
Okay. Was James and the Giant Peach Disney or no? I don't think it was.
I want to say it was.
Was it?
I could double check, but yeah, that was a good one for sure.
That's a fantastic.
No, I don't think it is James. Is it?
I don't think it's Disney.
I don't think it's Disney.
It might have been.
Yeah, go ahead. I'll look it up. Go ahead and finish what you're saying, though.
I miss stuff like that when it was like really unique and fun, and it was like different, topics. Like Disney had a cliche they followed literally for a long time, where it was like the same stories, but they'd switch it around and they'd stay with the same concept, and that was the brand. That was Disney. But when you got into DreamWorks, like you said, Prince of Egypt, or another fantastic one with Joseph and the Coat of Many Colors, like stuff like that. They weren't afraid to dabble into religion. They weren't afraid to.
That was DreamWorks.
Get into other things. Was it DreamWorks who did James also?
No. Walt Disney or Disney did James and the Giant Peach, but Joseph, Prince of Egypt, that was DreamWorks.
Yeah. See, but see, they weren't afraid to dive into other things where other companies were like, "Oh, I don't really care about that" and stuff, and so it made it really special and unique. Because I remember Prince of Egypt was like a huge deal when it came out.
Yeah,
like it was big, and
well,
I just
that's kind of the that's kind of the difference, I think, and why I tend to lean towards DreamWorks is that like it's not adult enough to where like a kid wouldn't get it, because a kid will be able to pick up on the themes of Prince of Egypt and stuff like that. But there is a level of maturity to it to where an adult, like I mean, I still watch Prince of Egypt probably like 3 times a year. I love the music in it. I love the animation. The cast and everything is great. But even stuff like Kung Fu Panda, especially the second one, it's a dark movie, man. Like Lord Shen and like the shit that he was doing, man. Like when you really break it down, it's pretty fucking vile. And then of course you got like Shrek with like the more adult jokes that are kind of hidden, throughout. And so I don't know, they bring a little bit more variety than Disney. But I mean, it's all it's all your personal flavor. But
yeah.
What about you, Disc?
Honestly, I think if we're putting like Disney on the top tier, which I think kind of what everyone agrees on, like how growing up it always kind of was like the biggest for animation. I really do think either. I probably would say honestly, like as a kid, I didn't really look at Disney as like a company. I looked at it as like whatever they put out. And honestly, I think as a kid, like DreamWorks movies, obviously knowing that now, and I actually caring about that stuff, like they kind of all blended. For me as a kid, like I was just like, oh, I want to watch that one. I didn't really think about who it came from. But that's saying something. Growing up now, you look at that and you're like, other than looking at it as a brand, like they still put out pretty much just as good stuff as Disney. At least when I watched as a kid, and I think they still do now.
Yeah.
So I think honestly DreamWorks was probably like the closest contender. And that's like before the whole you were saying about the guy going over to a DreamWorks. Like I think just as a whole, like when Shrek and everything like that, like even like movies like Over the Hedge, like you wouldn't even think that'd be a movie or even be a good movie, but it still holds up. Like it's just they do a lot of good stuff and a lot of different stuff, like you said too.
Yeah.
So here, I pose a quick question for you guys. Do you prefer animation or claymation?
I mean, if I could give like more specific, I would say I prefer 2D hand-drawn animation over anything.
I'd probably go animation over the claymation.
I go animation.
Maybe it's just because there's not a lot of claymation that I've seen.
Really good claymation, though. I mean, you've got the Rudolph claymation stuff. That stuff.
I mean, you got one of the
amazing.
best ones of Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah, I mean, there are good ones. I love Chicken Run. I think Chicken Run's a pretty underrated movie, actually. It's another one with some pretty dark tones, man.
Yeah, it is.
Some serious shit getting discussed behind the scenes on Chicken Run. But yeah, and that's another thing. Like you're kind of talking about, like another thing I'm missing is creative ways to animate. Now, some people are doing it, like Flow. Flow had a really fun, unique, different kind of animation style, and it felt very refreshing to kind of see that. But like we're not getting, like when you're getting like in the 70s and the 80s and 90s and stuff, and you had people playing with like rotoscope and stuff, like the American Pop movie that we watched. Like I miss that kind of creative flavor of animation where, it seems like the most recent one I think was like the Spider-Verse movie that tried something new with animation and a different style and stuff, and a lot of people were really excited about that, and I think it was cool that they did that. I didn't care for the movie too much, but I respected that they tried something new, and so I hope that becomes more prevalent as these companies are putting out movies, is just kind of get back to that, like what can we do to kind of like mix it up a little bit visually and just see what happens. because I don't think you would get the same feeling with James and the Giant Peach, for example. If that was hand drawn or 3D rather than, you know, the way that they did it, like claymation kind of stuff, it would have had a completely different feel to the movie.
Yeah.
You know, it might have been better, it might have been worse, but that was something that gave it its identity. And I think that like style is, you know, far more important than what they're giving it credit for at you know, currently. They're just kind of fucking putting out the 3D shit and calling it a day.
You're right.
Okay.
Yeah. I was gonna say this too, is just like, I feel like when you think of like newer, like a lot of like what we're getting for animation, I think Illumination, and they kind of have like this style, and I never really got like, I didn't really like the style that they do with their movies. Like it's always the same kind of design layout, but then when you look at like Disney or DreamWorks, when they have their big run, they were never the same style. And it's just kind of interesting to think about that going to now, like how they changed like the way that they make animation, and now it just seems kind of like it seems like a lazy way to say like we're being original. I don't know. It's just like the same look.
I feel like Illumination really took off with the Minion movies. The Minion movies were really popular, and I feel like that's when they first started like breaking out. Was when they did the Minion movie. They broke out before, but I feel like that's where their boost in popularity came from, was the Minion movies.
I think it was.
Probably. Yeah, I'm not like super duper into them, but you know, they're all right for what they are. But
Janky hating.
Well, what do you what do you got for us this week, Disc?
So I wanted to kind of get into this because I've noticed it a lot, like at least recently. Like I've been hearing it being kind of thrown out there, people talking about it, and it's just like, what do you guys like? Do you guys like actually listen to like movie scores outside of like just watching the movie? Like, do you go out of your day, like say in your car or at the gym or whatever, like on your day-to-day basis? Do you ever just pull up a movie score and listen to it?
Like a soundtrack?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, do you ever do that? Because I personally don't. I don't ever do. I just wanted to hear what you guys thought about it.
100% for me.
Really?
And I know, so, okay, like kind of difference between like a score and then the soundtrack, right? Like, so a soundtrack, the soundtrack for The Crow has like Pantera and The Cure and like bands and shit that have these songs released on other things, but like the score was like specifically made for this movie, you know, or like that's the movie's identity revolves around this musical piece,
like the instrumental stuff. Yeah.
So I do like, because but I love classical music. Like I'll listen to like, you know, Beethoven, Mozart, and Brahms and stuff like that. Like, you know, usually when I'm writing, but I'll also throw in, you know, like not like John Williams shit. Like I'm not listening to the Star Wars theme or anything like that. But I love Philip Glass, and particularly the song he did for the Candyman movie. It was Always You, Helen. It's fucking beautiful, man. And so I mean, I do listen to quite a bit of movie scores actually, for different reasons, different parts of the day, you know, whatever.
I listen to the soundtracks more than the scores. Like when I saw Stand By Me, I listened to that song every day that week that I watched that movie because it just got stuck in my head. I do like listening to like the Batman animated series stuff at times, you know, just the scores of like the intros and stuff, just like nostalgic intros and stuff, because it's like a time portal. It takes you back kind of when you listen to it, but I don't listen to that stuff as frequently as I used to, but I still do occasionally. When Deadpool came out and they redid the song When You Call My Name, all that, and they did it in that church choir thing, I listened to that the entire week because it just was so stuck in my head. It was so catchy.
Nice.
I'm curious what Harv's gonna say. I feel like his opinion changed.
Harv listens to the Pirates of the Caribbean song when he's taking a dump.
I just come running in.
Yeah,
I just come running
it's
in.
like him on the way.
No, I don't listen to scores. I listen to soundtracks. But the movies that the soundtracks, I don't do it as much as I used to. Because back 90s, 80s, a lot of the soundtracks were actually in the movie. So it kind of went hand in hand. Not as much nowadays, maybe. I don't really even know because you don't really see, like, you would have like you'd go to the record store or music store and they actually had their soundtracks in their own, and so you could go and like they don't really have that no more, so it's kind of hard to tell which ones are in there unless you see it on the credits, at least for me. I don't know about everybody else, but there was a lot of like the Juice soundtrack. That one was one of my favorites, and a lot of the songs were actually in there was some, maybe there was some that were not, but most of that soundtrack were songs made specifically for the movie. And a lot of the ones I liked, like Friday, a lot of those songs were specifically for the movie. Those are the types of movies I like. Uh, and I watched, you know me, I'm the hood guy. I like all the hood movies. So Friday, Juice, New Jack City, all of those were actually made for the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So, but nowadays you don't really see as much, so I don't really listen to them as much as I did back in the early 2000s, 1900s, the 90s. Me being an unk that I am, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know why I don't. I think it's just really I just don't really care for instrumental stuff. And I think like from the start, like when Janky said he likes classical stuff, like I just think that's just not my style, and I think it's just kind of boring personally. And I think that's why like when I watch the movie, it's just like background noise, like I barely hear it. It doesn't stick out to where I'm like, that's what that's from, you know.
I will say this though. Oh, I just want to add to Disc really quick. we played a game the other day where we were trying to guess the movie from the score. And I think another reason why Disc probably doesn't listen to him is because he doesn't fucking know him. He doesn't know what John Williams sounds like. He didn't feel that feeling, like, and I don't know how to describe it, but there's so many, like, he doesn't know what the Godfather score sounds like, like if he heard that, it wouldn't mean anything to him. And so like I think that like the scores he has heard just aren't significant enough for it to have like made an impact on him. But when you go and you watch shit like Jurassic Park and stuff like Terminator or The Godfather and stuff like that, you're gonna be like, dude, okay,
the score is everything.
Well, right there, that exactly says like what Sea Dog said. Like it was like he does it for nostalgia, and I just wasn't there when that happened. And I think that's part of the nostalgia thing, like what Sea Dog was saying.
It takes me back to the time I was sitting there watching it as a kid on VHS, or like when it aired on what was it, on ABC, when they would just show it randomly. Like it just takes you back to that time, and you watch it, and you're like, man, my childhood was so good. I didn't have bills. I didn't have nothing. I just sat there and I watched my favorite movies, and I ate, I slept, and I went to school, and that was it.
Mm-hmm.
But then to go back, actually, sorry, I was going to say to go back to what Janky was saying, too. This really proves the nostalgia, because when we played that game, remember how all the classic ones that popped up that I knew what it was from? I didn't know what it was from, but I knew it. I said it was from like a meme. That's how you know the age difference.
Yeah, no shit. Right.
This guy.
But I don't think a lot of people listen to the scores nowadays, or even at all. I think it's more if you hear it in passing, it's just that like a meme. It's short, so you'll hear it in passing or hear it like on a radio somewhere else. But it's not you listening to it. It's just on like if you go to a store and it's playing over the loudspeaker, something like that. Then you'll catch that kind of. Like you'll get that nostalgia, like, oh, I remember that used to be part of this movie, or you get the nostalgia that way. But I don't think you're really watching it or listening to it like that, or at least most people, unless you're weird like Janky. But other than that, I don't think the normal group of folk are watching it.
Well, I'll say it this way:
or listen to it,
if you take that music away from those movies and you watch that scene by itself, it's gonna sound like dog shit. This is gonna be nothing going on. So imagine being in Jurassic Park when they have the Brachiosaurus in the beginning of it, and then when it says "Welcome to Jurassic Park," it goes, na, 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 na. Imagine them just driving and it being quiet. Like, that would ruin the whole fucking thing. And then also, I think that also surround sound systems make a big deal too. Like, you notice it more when you have a good sound system, and it immerses you more into the movie. Like, the music sucks you into those movies.
Yeah, that's too.
Well, I want to say too, before we move on to Sea Dog's topic of the week, Disc could not fucking get the Shining theme, and it was so embarrassing. I as soon as I heard the blah, I was like, Shining, and then
I don't know how he didn't get it.
He played it probably 20 times, and I gave him like every hint imaginable to fucking get it. And then as soon as I was like, all right, just go ahead, play it, let it show the answer. And he's like, son of a bitch, dude.
Yeah, because dude, it's so iconic.
Yeah. It's a
I
great
knew
one.
it was horror.
I know what it is. It's
Yeah.
instant. But we also grew up watching that. Disc is younger than us, so like we grew up watching The Shining like crazy. So I'm sure you and me both have seen it, Janky, a bunch of times. So it's like burned in our brains.
I literally first watched The Shining last year. Yeah.
That's your fault.
Yeah.
It is.
I'm glad you watched it at least, so.
Yeah. Well, what do you got for us this week, Sea Dogathan?
So I was thinking about it like this. Why do we have so many franchise horror movies, but a lot of the standalone horror movies from the past are not being remade or redone?
So, like, why are we still remaking, like, Friday the 13th and Halloween
The
and shit?
franchise stuff that's had 13 movies of franchise, stuff like that. Why are we leaving all these really interesting, unique horror movies in the background and just leave them there basically to rot? And the only people who are really into those are people who are into, like, the 80s, 70s, stuff like that. Like, there's a movie, Wes Craven is praised for Nightmare on Elm Street. He also did a movie called Shocker, which is one of my personal favorites. And it's about a guy who is a serial killer, and he literally goes through television sets and stuff, and like transfers between television sets, and he like uses like a television demon type thing, and he'll go like find people, and there's this kid whose family member gets killed, and he literally hunts the killer through the television set. And I thought that was such a cool concept, and how he can like transfer his body through like radioactive airwaves and stuff. And it was just so neat. And then you got The Burning, which was basically a ripoff of Friday the 13th, but in my personal opinion was better than the first Friday the 13th.
I 100% agree.
A guy who got burned by a prank that went wrong, and he had hedge clippers, and he went out and took out the campers and stuff. It just seemed like a more interesting story than kid's mom, gets killed, he goes on a rampage, and then they take it out for 13 movies.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just think that there's some stories there that you could really take with the technology you have nowadays and really make a good story and a good movie out of it.
Yeah, the Shocker one. I mean, fuck, there's like stuff with like the internet or like AI and stuff. Like, there's a lot they could do. You put some big brain writer on that, he could probably figure some cool shit out.
Or Lawnmower Man.
Yeah. Which one?
Fucking Lawnmower Man.
Well, Lawnmower Man was brought out when virtual reality was first starting. So now it could really take off with the advancements that it had. So I think it would look a lot better, because that stuff looked chintzy as hell back then.
It was rough.
I was not a Lawnmower Man fan when I watched it.
Yeah, that was a rough one.
It just wasn't my thing at the time.
I think they could take it do a retake on it, and then but still with the advancements in special effects and all that and CGI, I think they could do a way better job now than they did back then.
I'm honestly surprised they haven't, because that's originally a Stephen King story, and they literally ride Stephen King for every movie and every sort of adaptation or whatever. And there's so many of his books that have not become movies yet, like the Stand TV series. They could have turned that into a movie, and it probably would have sold really well.
Well, they redid it. They remade it.
They keep doing a series. They're not doing a movie. They keep doing these long, drawn out series, and the problem is a lot of people don't have time to sit down and watch a 10 episode thing or a 1 episode thing. Most people want to just sit down and watch the movie, and then that's it.
There was one I watched. There was one I watched on that was a Stephen King. It's still only on DVD. It's not even on Blu-ray. It's called Night Flyer. And that one I think should get maybe rebooted or remade. I think that one would be a pretty decent one to do, because it didn't get as much love as like all the other ones. Even Cujo hasn't even been remade, which I'm kind of shocked at.
Night Flyer had a cool creature design.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, like for me, like there's some, I'm not the biggest fan of remakes and all that kind of shit, but like there are some that I think, I don't know, maybe I just want them to have more respect on their name or something, I guess. But like Tourist Trap would be one for me. I still think that's one of the best fucking masks in all of horror, and one of the creepiest killers, man. Like the Tourist Trap was great, and not enough people have seen it. But they could, and it's a simple story. They could easily do something with that. But yeah, I think the answer to your question is really as simple as just money, right? Freddy sells, Michael sells, Jason sells, and how do they know that? Because they've been doing it for fucking decades, right? Leatherface, they put asses in seats, and that's all they care about. So
but they did the same thing with weapons too. They marketed it as a different thing. It was something different, and people fucking paid to go see weapons. It made a lot of money too, and that was a whole different concept and stuff. But it wasn't rehearsing the same stuff again, or it wasn't remaking everything. But they made it to where they advertised it enough to where it was gonna be stuck in your head that you had to go see it. It was gonna be a movie of the year. And I just don't feel like they do that a lot, man.
Like the advertising?
Like, I just don't feel like they advertise it enough. Like, back in the day, even like older horror movies and stuff, like, every time you turned on the TV, there was a commercial for that movie coming out. There was something saying, this is coming to theater near you. Go watch this. If you watch Friday the 13th Part 1, you're going to want to see Friday the 13th Part 2. And now you don't see that. You see them just say, here's a new Evil Dead movie. Here's your trailer. You're done. They don't advertise it the same way. And it hurts. It hurts the lesser known titles and stuff, because they are not advertised like that. So if they did advertise them more, maybe more people would be intrigued to go watch them.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I wanted to add this, because I feel like I didn't say anything for this topic yet, but I wanted to say this, and I freaking hate talking about this, but I think, and Sea-Dog, don't freaking babble about this one either, I think the only freaking horror slasher or movie that ever really got another chance that was like an underground, like different thing, was Terrifier. Like, it came out like probably like 6 years, and then randomly they said, let's continue it. And I feel like that's kind of in that same fitting, where that was one of the ones that kind of did it, like got that chance, even though I don't think it should have,
Yeah.
Like, I could care less about the lore that they're trying to get into with it. But next topic, because I don't want to talk about Terrifier.
They just advertise Terrifier well. That's all there is to it. They advertise a high hell, and that's
they really did a good job marketing that movie. Like, for what it is, it was just a phenomenal job of marketing.
Yeah.
They put it out to where you have to watch it, or you
Yeah,
want
pique
like.
your curiosity.
Mm-hmm.
But the first one, it was slept on for like years. Like I think it was 6 years till they did like the second one.
And
Maybe
They
here's
five.
actually did one. They did one before that. It was called All Hallows Eve, and that was the first time. It was years and years ago. And then they came out with the first one after that gained traction over a few years. And then they came out with the second. No, they came out with the third one, and now they're coming out with the final one, which comes out this year or next year.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's just one of the ones that, did what you were asking about, unfortunately.
And
Yeah.
I think it just needs to be said that a cult classic that should be redid, just because why the hell not, is Killer Clowns from Outer Space. I think we need that one to be redone.
God, no.
No.
I would
Fuck
watch
that.
it.
I would watch it, obviously, but like, fuck no. There's no way it could be good.
Well, the
Okay,
first one wasn't good
We're part
either.
of the problem.
The first
well,
one wasn't good either.
It's good at what it does, right? So like, it's not a good movie technically speaking, but what it was trying to achieve, it achieved to the highest degree. But so I'll give you this: if they remade it today, if they did all practical effects, I wouldn't care. But if they did like try to make the clowns like CGI fucking dog slop, then I would be immediately, I wouldn't even care if it was funny or anything like that, because that was part of the thing for me with Killer Clowns from Outer Space, was the shitty rubber costumes that just look so ridiculous that you couldn't even be scared of it, because you're like, that it's just so stupid. Like, it just looks so fake.
I think they should keep
like Shorty punching the biker's head off.
I think that they should keep the costumes and that, but I think they could touch on, like, when the spaceship goes and starts spinning. I think they could do a better job with that, or just certain elements. I think they could touch up on and give it a little more modern twist. Well,
it's supposed to be goofy and funny and cheesy and B-movie style. Like, that was the whole point of it. It had that feel to it that, like, you weren't supposed to take this movie seriously when you watched it.
If the Psycho Gorman guy were to redo it, I'd be down.
It's a new one.
I know. I'm saying I'm saying if that guy, that director, because he did Turbo Kid and Deathstalker, if he made a remake to Killer Clowns, I would totally be. I would pay double. I would need to for a movie ticket.
Oh, I thought you were talking about. I thought you were talking about.
No,
he meant remaking Psycho Gorman, not Gorman.
No,
Gorman.
His name's Gorman. It's spelled with an A. Dick face.
It's not Psycho. It's not Psycho.
You don't say.
Gorman,
so is Norman.
It's one man.
So is Norman, but you don't call him Norman. It's Norman. If somebody has the name Norman, you don't say it's Norman. It's Gorman.
I said Psycho Gorman. Gorman.
It's Gorman.
That's with an E.
It's Gorman.
Yeah, you're saying it wrong.
No, you are.
Gorman.
You gotta remember,
it's
Gorman. To have a food.
You don't have to you don't have to
like
super pronounce the man part. But it's still
no. I'm just saying how you pronounce
Gorman.
It's like fucking nails on a chalkboard every time you say Gorman.
What are you talking about? Psycho Gorman.
Gorman.
You laugh.
All right, whatever. Diarrhea breath. Fucking moving on. What do you got for us this week?
So I would like to discuss. I was looking up some stuff earlier about like the change in between the 19s and the 2000s. That 1999, it looks like it was a very pivotal year of filmmaking, when filmmaking was like switching over. I wanted to get your guys' thoughts of what you guys thought about it. It being that, it was said, I read some stuff that it was one of the years where multi-generational inputs affected the making. So you had like Gen X, boomers, and millennials all were around that same, they were all still young enough or old enough to be able to put creative inputs on movies to make them make like a generational splash in it, and to where
Yeah.
it's actually created longevity on further styles that's still lasting to this day. Like that was like the timeline right there was the 19, and that's when I graduated high school. So 1999 has
Hmm.
a special place in my heart because it was like one of the best years. I was 18, and it was a great time, fun times, and you could like everybody was scared because of Y2K, so a lot of movies had that fear. You could sense that fear in it of the Y2K thing going on, and just different styles. But what do you guys think about it?
So 1999 is also my favorite year for movies, I think, as a whole. And I watched a video on 1999 where somebody was describing like there was like a common thread with a lot of the movies that kind of lasted, and it was like men feeling very like subdued, right? Like, so Fight Club was the big one for that, right? Like Fight Club is like working your office job, being like, pussified version of yourself as a man. But then you had stuff like Office Space, you had stuff like American Beauty, and even The Matrix. We're all kind of touching on this topic of like feeling emasculated and like just you're not what you could be. Basically, you're more than what you're doing right now. And I think that honestly like resonates with Gen Z so much, because a lot of Gen Zers are like going back and they're watching stuff like Fight Club, and they're watching stuff like the American Beauty even, and they're saying like, I kind of feel this. And I think it's just as prevalent now as it was in 1999, maybe in slightly different way. But there was like a chunk where it really wasn't. People kind of thought it as like cringy. Like, I remember when people thought Fight Club was like cringy, and some people still do. But now I think that a lot of people are going back. They're like, this, like, I kind of get it. Not from like the edge lord perspective, but more from like no, like this feels wrong. Something feels wrong here. I don't know how to explain it, and this movie is making me feel like I understand.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think there was like that just that kind of like late 90s like fuck you kind of vibe. I absolutely love it. And that, like in your face kind of story, I guess, is, I really appreciate it. So you don't really
Mm-hmm.
get that a lot anymore.
Yeah.
I
feel like the 90s and late 90s, like 99, is probably like, I guess, the last year of like those kind of like fuck you type of movies in a way. I feel like when you get into like the 2000s, you see a little bit less of it, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But like
No, you
that
do.
edgy, like fuck you attitude type movies are very like 90s, I feel like.
Yeah.
I think that the 90s were like the pinnacle of like where practical effects really went away too, and that was a big thing too. Like you had all these big movies like The Matrix, which was visually effective. They were high definition. They were really big scale stuff that they weren't able to do before that, and it kind of sucked people into the CGI and the stuff like that. That was really the rise of when that all started too. So like it surprised a lot of people because most people were used to the practical effects. And then when the CGI boom came around that time in the late 90s into the 2000s, it kind of just blew up and everybody was like, wow, this is the most amazing thing I've ever seen type thing. So
And
I
I
think
think
that also helped with the popularity.
also like they started experimenting with different plot lines and different camera angles. That's where like the shot for Matrix, where it was just the way it was shot, the different camera angles that they had never used before. So they started
Mm-hmm.
experimenting more because they were going into a digital age, moving away from that kind of stuff. So I think that's where the break was for it, and making it more, everything's starting to last and having longevity, and to movies that are still being watched today. Yeah.
It was the experimentation era. They were trying a bunch of new things that were really new and exciting.
Well, you want to know something that's really fun to think about? It's kind of pisses me off, actually. So 1999, you had The Matrix, and you remember the special effects for The Matrix, right? Like they were good, but some of them you look back, you're like, it's kind of dated in some ways. Like you can see it looks a little shitty. So 1999, 8 years later. Okay, now you think 8 years ago, what is that? 2019? I can't do math right now. Whatever, 2018, something like that. 2018, right? Okay, so you think of the special effects from 2018 into now. Not really a difference. In fact, it's probably gotten worse. And I know it's gotten worse because, okay, so we go 1999 with The Matrix. 8 years later, the first Transformers movie comes out. Talk about a fucking leap. That's a gigantic leap in quality of CGI. And there's been countless people on YouTube that have made videos showing like how CGI has gotten worse over time, because you look back, especially at the Transformers movies that are just, I mean, they're so fucking good with their effects. You can think whatever you will about the movie, but yeah, you know, like the movies might be shit, but you can't deny that stuff looks great. And so I think about that all the time. And that's another thing too, with even with video games, you look at like, there was a point where we hit with graphics where it's like, damn, this is like, this is so good. It can't get any better than this. And then eventually we became right about that. And we're like, okay, it just hasn't gotten any better. It's been like 20 years. It hasn't gotten better. So I don't know. I just love thinking about that, how that jump from 1999 to 2007.
They try to make things too realistic nowadays, and it takes away from the character of the games and of the movies and stuff. They try to make it look so photorealistic that I feel like it takes away from the charm of the stuff. Like if you look at video games from Super Nintendo era till now, a lot of the Super Nintendo games hold up a lot better than half the stuff you get nowadays. Half the time a game comes out, people don't care about it anymore because it's been overplayed, outdone. It looks the same. Nothing changes. I mean, look at how many people spot Maddens and stuff like that. They don't ever change the way it looks. It looks almost identical. Every game plays the same way, but people still go out and they pay the money for it. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, and it kind of tie back into like what Harv was saying. Like it's basically like 1999 was that moment where we were, you know, I mean, there was multiple moments throughout the decades, but 1999 was a moment in which we were trying new shit. And like you said, we had different generations all kind of working together and putting their input on it. And so it felt very fresh, you know, in that way where it's like, it's not just boomers making a movie. It's not just millennials making a movie or Gen X or whatever. It's everybody kind of like merging together at this like really special point and all bitching about the same thing in a way, you know, and like everybody was just kind of like, yeah, no, I get it. Yeah. Fuck the man and corporations and all that, you know.
Also, to tie that in, they also advertised it really well back then. When you had these big releases, they would have like show stores, show outs where you could go for the release nights and stuff. They'd have the big standees. They'd have some places would have the actors come. You know, they really put a lot of care and effort into it. It was almost like a video game release night, but it was for a movie and stuff. And so they really put like a show on, and you just don't see that type of stuff. You didn't see that type of stuff for years after, and you still don't see that type of stuff anymore. If a movie comes out, it goes on the shelf, it's done. But back then, they advertised it so much that it made you want to go to that opening night to go pick up that movie.
Yeah.
And
a lot of that also has to do with...
Go ahead. No. My bad.
Well, I was just going to say a lot of that, I think, because you've talked about the advertising thing a few times. So like, I think the reason that it feels so different is because of the lack of physical media. So if a movie was getting advertised before it came out, it's like, okay, we got that. And then once it came out, you still had like you'd have movie posters like on like billboards or something like that. And then when the movie left the theaters, you had advertising for when it came out on physical media where you could go rent it. And so you had a longer timeline of advertising. And so I think that's why it feels different. Whereas now it's like before the movie comes out, and that's basically it. So because we're living in a different time, I think is why it feels as though it's not as much. It's probably the same amount, just condensed pretty much.
But
like they're probably still spending the same amount of money, but just,
I think that also going with the physical media route, a lot of them, they would do a lot of re-releasing of the movie, different packaging. Oh, it's the 10th anniversary. It's this special edition, this special edition. A lot of movies now, they come out, they go straight to streaming because there's not that much physical media anymore. They go straight to streaming and there's no special editions to keep it in the public eye. So it just goes to streaming and then it kind of dies there. It doesn't really get brought up more often. Oh, you have this special, and you don't have that. I mean, we just got Little Nicky, the Steelbook. How long has that been going on?
Right.
So that's where that was my topic for the night, though.
Okay. Well, we're kind of running out of time here, so we'll jump into our movie recommendations for the week. So I'll go ahead and go, keeping with my animation topic. If you have not sat down and watched the HBO animated Spawn series, you need to do it like right now. Like this is, I guarantee if you're a movie person like this and you haven't seen it, it's been on your back burner for a hot minute, go ahead and do it. And you're going to be so grateful that you did. It's fucking awesome. It's so violent and grimy, and Violator is like so diabolical in that show. It's just a great one. So highly recommend that one. And I can't say enough good things about it. I hope that they do something more with it, actually. I don't know if they ever will, because they're still not doing the live action one that they keep fucking telling us they're gonna do. But that'd be my recommendation. What you got, Disc?
Alright, I'm gonna recommend a black and white movie, and it's from 1955. The reason I recommend this one is because I think personally, if you're someone who is not a fan of black and white, which is pretty common, I think this is a really good entry point for you. I think it's very simple plot about just this lonely guy who's in his 35s, and he doesn't really know if or when he will ever get married, and he's just kind of struggling, and he's living with his mother. And it's just a very simple movie, and it actually was the first, I think, 90-minute movie to ever hit all 5 Oscar awards. So that's pretty cool. So I definitely think it's worth a watch, and I thoroughly enjoyed it a lot. And that is Marty. I don't know if I said that. No, Marty.
Yeah.
I said the name, but I didn't say the movie. But yeah, it's called Marty.
Okay.
Yeah.
What you got, Sea-Dog?
I have also a black and white movie.
Oh.
Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds.
The Birds.
I was going to say Psycho.
Love that movie. And I just thought about it recently. I hadn't watched it in a while, and I'm going to go back and watch it this week. But I was in psychology class in high school when we watched that movie. And I remember how creepy it was, just the concept of thinking about all the birds attacking the people in the town and stuff. And there was an open window pane down my hallway at school. And I remember leaving that movie, and when we watched it, and I was looking up in the sky, it petrified the fuck out of me for the longest time. That movie is such a masterclass for him specifically. I love Psycho and stuff, but I think The Birds I really enjoyed The Birds more. I just thought it was a really cool concept, and I thought that the movie was, it was very unique in its style and stuff, and it was something that actually could happen. It wasn't some fake, birds could go rabid, they could go attack people and do whatever. That could actually happen to you, so that also made it an even more scary concept, I felt like.
I wish a bird would. I'd smack a fucking bird in his beak.
You gonna smack 5,000 of them at one time?
Bah, 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 bah.
I think so.
Yeah, dude. I'll just spin in circles, bitch slapping
But
him.
like the scene of her inside the telephone booth when they're like attacking the glass and she's trapped there, you literally feel like you're trapped there with her in that moment. Like she has nowhere to go. She cannot go anywhere. And she is getting, these birds are smacking the window on every side of her. And you just feel like her fear in that moment. The actress, I can't remember her name, but she played a great role in that.
Mm. Have you seen Birdemic?
Mm-mm.
No, but I've seen Sharknado.
It's worse.
Oh, God.
It's worse than Sharknado by a huge margin. We're gonna watch a clip or two from Birdemic after this episode.
Okay.
What about you, Harv?
I'm gonna recommend a movie I watched earlier today. Actually, it's called Interstate 60. It stars James Marsden, Amy Smart. It just has a stacked cast. Gary Oldman. Basically, it's about a guy that he goes around. He grants wishes. It's kind of a weird movie, a weird vibe. And so he grants one wish to everybody. Everybody's guaranteed one wish. It's only one wish per person. And this one kid, he kind of comes in contact with him, and he doesn't let him know that he's going to grant him a wish, but he overhears him say for his birthday what his wish was on his birthday cake, and it was he wants to know the answer to the question. And everybody's like, well, what question? Of what his life is. Well, not the meaning of life, but what his life is about. And his whole thing was he put him on a road, on a trip to deliver a package, and it's about what his experiences are and the stories that happened during that road trip to take the package from point A to point B. Very interesting concept, and I thought it was pretty good. So that's going to be my recommendation for this week.
All right. Lots of good recommendations all around the house. Well, that's our time this week. So we'll go ahead and wrap it up here. I am Janky J, and tonight we had
T-Dog92.
Discpick.
And you already know Harv from the world famous Harv's Movie Hut.
All right. All right, guys. We will see you next week.
Have a great night, everybody.
Peace out.